The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Window World of Western Mass, a local family-owned and operated complete exterior remodeling business offering windows, siding, gutters, and more. windowworldofwesternma.com. The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by the Handle Factory Community Clay Studio in Shelburne Falls, offering summer youth clay and art camps and classes for adults. Learn more at handlefactory.com.
Welcome to the Fabulous 413. I'm Khalees Smith.
And I'm Monty Belmonte. Later in the show, the Wine Thunderdome returns after a month hiatus to the bunker that started it all with wines that are perfect for a blistering hot weather.
We'll also rewind to last weekend's Green River Festival in our pop-up session with the constantly amazing Leyla McCalla. I still really can't believe that she actually said yes and came on the show.
But first, it's been our impromptu summer reading week here on the Fabulous 413.
And to cap it off, we'll visit a place where you can take those books to read them for a good cause.
Does Donkey talk? Oh, like one of those.
She does a classic old hee-haw.
Yes, it's very soothing. This donkey is very calm and
That's slow.
going. Yeah, we're lounging here. Yeah.
Well, let's lounge with this donkey.
We don't have any reading material.
Oh yeah, we should have got books. Luckily there's a library in there.
Won't show up
I
on the
have
radio.
Grace Lynn's in my car.
You can pretend you're reading on the radio.
I was going to bring The Secret Diary of Laura Palmer, but then I thought that might be inappropriate. We are in the beautiful town of Westhampton, Massachusetts, and we are at the Westhampton Library, which will soon be celebrating its 15th anniversary because tomorrow, Saturday, June 28th, there's a really fun event happening.
I'm Laurie Sanders.
And what do you do at the library?
I've been a volunteer here and active in the library since we moved here 30 years ago.
I'm Meaghan Schwelm. I'm the library director.
Yeah, love librarians. What's your name?
Jennifer Milikowsky. I'm on the select board of Westhampton.
I'm Ali Jenkins. I'm just an active community member.
Not just.
You brought the donkey.
You brought
I
the
did bring
donkey. And you're going to bring the donkey and maybe more tomorrow for this Lounging for Literacy event.
Yeah, absolutely. I have some donkeys and horses that like to make their presence known in the community, so I figured why not?
What's your donkey's name?
Donkey.
Okay.
But you gotta have friends.
Stop!
What does Donkey like to read?
I'm not sure. Honestly, probably. I think she'd like children's books. She used to be a petting zoo donkey, so she spends a lot of time with them.
And Shrek is a great children's book featuring a great donkey.
You know what else everybody like? Parfaits. Parfaits are delicious. No!
And look over who's over here, the legend, the man, the myth himself, the only guy I know who sings more about this particular town and library than anyone, I think, ever in the history of humanity.
I think that might be right.
Yeah, Jim Armenti from the Lonesome Brothers. And Jim, you have a song about lounging for literacy that we're going to hear a little bit of later.
A little bit of it later, yeah. I wrote it originally at the behest. This might be the third song Laurie asked me to write, song on request. How about that?
Yeah, you take requests.
I like to think of Jim as the soundtrack to our town.
Yeah, I think so too. Anytime I think of Westhampton, I do think of Jim. And then I think of this library.
I live right there.
Yeah.
I just live down at the bottom of the hill.
We could roll a pumpkin down there to you. So tell us, what is Lounging for Literacy and whose idea was this? Is this you, Laurie?
Way back when, in 2005, we received a $1 million library building grant from the state, and we had to have a match from our town. And so this was the first event to raise money. And we thought, sort of what's more iconic, emblematic of the beginning of summer. It was a summer event back in 2007, and Lounging for Literacy was part of it. And we had a huge turnout, and we billed it as the world's largest gathering of people reading in lawn chairs. We did contact the Guinness Book of World Records, and they said that they couldn't make that category because you couldn't verify that people were reading and comprehending, which most people thought was a real joke.
What?
That is it.
You were going to give him a quiz after?
Yeah, exactly. So, but nevertheless, in spite of that, and we're expecting this year too, a representative from Guinness did come and made an announcement. So we're expecting,
And
hoping.
what, do they make an announcement? Sorry to disappoint you. You've broken the record, but you're not getting in?
It was the announcement that we had achieved the world record, the world's largest gathering of people reading in lawn chairs. It's right here in Westhampton.
But you're aiming to break the record again.
That's right. We're
Your own record.
We're going to crush it, and our goal is not only to crush our record, but it's a challenge for libraries across the nation to do this. It's just a playful way to bring people together, especially after COVID, to show your support for libraries. It's a fantastic event.
Not just after COVID, but also after the removal of funds from library and museum services.
Then there's that, which Meaghan can speak to.
Yeah, how has the federal cuts to library services impacted this beautiful small library in the beautiful town of Westhampton?
So some of that we're not yet sure about, but the Institute for Museum and Library Services, their funding trickles down for databases and especially e-resources. A lot of people have gotten really into ebooks and downloadable audio, so we're already seeing the impacts of that. The state has had to make difficult decisions about cuts to databases and e-resources. So that's definitely going to affect small libraries. We just don't have the budget to afford things like that. And the other cuts we're really concerned about are the National Endowment for the Humanities, because they are associated with our local cultural council and the Massachusetts Cultural Council. And those funds are crucial for our summer concert series that I was telling you about, Monty, the Field of Dreams series, which has become really popular. That's out here in this yard. And they're also crucial for special children's programs that we do for summer reading. I mean, a program that costs like $400, $500 is a big ask for a community the size of Westhampton, and we don't have programming funds in our operating budget, so we really rely on those grants.
And I think the important part of that is that we're talking about Westhampton, but that's across the nation. Libraries provide so many services to communities beyond borrowing books, and so millions of people are going to be affected by changes in interlibrary loan, changes in access to computers, changes in the programs for entrepreneurship and new business development. There's just so many ways that libraries aid people. They're equalizing. They're free. Everybody's welcome. It's a very important piece.
And there's been such an appetite for programming at our library that in this past year we've doubled our programming here. So it just serves as such an important community hub. You know, in a town like Westhampton, unless you live in the center of town, most of us don't see our neighbors unless maybe waving when we get our mail. But other than that, we don't have a lot of places where we cross paths with our neighbors and have those conversations and those touch points. And the library has served as this incredible community hub for us. Part of what brings people here to cross paths and engage and have those conversations are all these amazing programs. So Lounging for Literacy really demonstrates the core to me of what the library represents for Westhampton, which is bringing our community together.
And Lounging for Literacy will happen right here tomorrow, Saturday, the 28th. Here in Westhampton. This library is so beautiful. It's got a beautiful like Goshen stone patio in the front and then these rolling hills out back with what looks like a little fire pit back there and these beautiful benches, and everybody will bring their lawn chairs like we have here, and also there'll be a donkey.
There will be a donkey.
And maybe also a horse?
Maybe. Yeah, we'll see how he's feeling.
We walk the donkey right over across the street. Donkey, what do you think about Lounging for Literacy? No comment.
You live in a barn, right? I'm in Max Payne. Have you seen that movie? Okay, donkey. Say hi to your mother for me.
We do have another horseback rider is coming tomorrow also. This person participated 18 years ago and is coming back. And Ali was only 2 at the first Lounging for Literacy, and it's just so appropriate that her donkey is from a petting zoo because the board book she was reading as a 2-year-old, I have the documentary evidence, was Pets.
But did you comprehend it is the question that Guinness wants to know the answer to.
Do people have to bring their own chairs, or are you providing chairs for them to lounge in?
Bringing your own chair is encouraged because we're trying to smash our record of 287 people. We do have a number of chairs, but I don't think we have 287, so please bring your own chair if you can.
Does it have to be a lawn chair, or can it be like a beach lounger?
Someone is probably coming in a kayak.
Okay.
He's bringing his kayak and is going to read from the kayak. I said to him, whatever floats your boat.
If you can lounge in it, I think it's approved.
Yeah, I guess I just want to emphasize again, we really hope everyone comes and joins us because in addition to reading, there's going to be, thanks to Meaghan and her team, authors here for book signing. There's library-themed raffle items. There's really delicious baked goods. And then Jim, at the end, we're going to organize a sing-along all based on the songs that he's written related to libraries and books, plus the new premiere
of Lounging for Literacy.
Yeah, yes. I'm just going to play some songs from the library CD, which was a fundraising suggestion from someone on the Capitol Committee 15 years ago, more, right? And I'm going to do some of those for sing-alongs and yes, the world premiere of Lounging for Literacy.
Maybe this is a good opportunity for us to get a taste of the world premiere.
That's what you're going to get a taste. I'm going to do the first verse. What about that? Okay.
Love it.
Coming up, Oh,
It's a
so
beautiful
cute.
album about libraries, Jim. Love it.
There need to be more music about libraries. Coming up, music with Leyla McCalla and the return of the Wine Thunderdome with refreshing whites for hot weather.
After we hear a sneak peek of that new song written for the Lounging for Literacy event from Jim Armenti, and more details about going outside with a book for a good cause from Laurie Sanders, Meaghan Schwelm, Ali Jenkins, and Jennifer Milikowsky.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
But all these intense people staring at me. This is a Perry Como kind of a thing. So you gotta.
Have you ever played before? Have you ever played for a donkey before?
Lower. Well, this is more like a donkey's ass, wouldn't you say?
That's true. We are literally looking at a donkey's ass.
Yeah,
The ass's ass.
Yeah, the ass's ass. Okay.
She's eating. Leave her alone.
Anyway, imagine Rick Moranis sideways on a bed imitating Perry Como.
I got it.
Resting for reading, I'm laying about in the sunshine. Book in my hand, I'm drinking it in, I'm taking in the lay of the land. I'm relaxing with letters, stories unfold. I'm a well-read recliner, or so I've been told. I'm lounging for literacy, passing it on to my friends.
Woo! Jim Armenti, Lounging for Literacy, the world premiere here on the Fabulous 413, but you'll get the whole song at the actual event at the Westhampton Library tomorrow.
I mean, I'm just going to say the donkey perked up.
Yeah, the donkey is slowly,
Exactly.
the donkey is turning
And he knows
around.
I don't have food.
So what are people going to be reading?
Do they have to bring their own books also, or can they get them from the library while they're here?
We would love for them to check out a book. We would love for them to sign up for a library card if they don't already have one. It's free and it gets you into over 160 libraries in central western Massachusetts. You can read a graphic novel, a comic book, you can listen to an audiobook, read a magazine, newspaper, whatever material you want is welcome.
And there's going to be a lot of really nice activities for kids here, some being hosted and offered by kids. So it's really a great event for everybody. And I think it's a free event, just like the library. It's free and everyone is welcome.
We've had Summer Reading Week this week, so we've been trying to encourage people to read and introducing them to new books and authors. We had The Setup with John Wynne. Mm-hmm. We had The Untended by Mattia Kramer. We had Grace Lynn's new one, The Gate, the Girl, and the Dragon.
Yep, those are the three so far. There are more coming, but those are the three that we did all in a week.
What books are you all reading right now that you're going to lounge for literacy with tomorrow?
I'm going to be lounging with my 2-year-old. So I think we are going to bring Richard Scarry's Things That Move.
Love it.
I mean, maybe I'll find a book about donkeys. I'm not quite sure.
Well, I just finished reading All That Life Can Afford by Emily Everett, who's a graduate of Hampshire Regional, right down the road, and Smith College. She's going to be visiting our book group on July 1st at 7 p.m. if anyone's interested in coming. So I'll have to find something new because I just finished that book.
Well, in addition to whatever book I might be reading, the other piece that will happen is we have this big board where people can write their favorite books of all time, whether they're grown-ups or kids or young adults. So that's going to be another opportunity for people to then come into the library and borrow books.
But what are you reading? You're dodging the question.
I am dodging the question. I'm reading, right now I'm reading a great book called Raising Hare, about raising a hare. Yeah,
donkey
in
adjacent.
England. Yeah, it's related to the donkey.
It's nothing I would ever know about, unfortunately, raising hair. What are you reading, Jim Armenti?
Currently, I'm reading Stanley Tucci's new cookbook.
Oh, cool.
Not Taste, the next one.
Oh, nice.
The next one's got a lot of recipes in it.
Armenti, Tucci, come on. Paisan.
But we should be reading also Jim's new book. That's going to be available to read, too.
Sun on the Muddy, and Dave Mataloni is the photographer. It was a collaboration between Jim and Dave, and they'll be here signing copies.
Love me some Dave Mataloni, too. Rabble-rouser par excellence.
Jen just pointed out we did want to emphasize that everyone is welcome. You don't need to be a resident of Westhampton.
Because you wouldn't break the record if you did. You need people from out of town.
Probably not, but we have many loyal customers from surrounding communities, and we're always excited when new people come to the library.
I love libraries, and this is a gorgeous one. I love just visiting new libraries never visited before, so it's really fun for me.
Speaking of, this is a newer, mean, we're celebrating the 15th anniversary of this particular version of the library, but what was the older library like?
You can just see it if you go across the street. It's a little white house next to the town hall.
Very small. The children's room was in the attic, and the roof
That's
was
where they fit.
Yeah. Exactly.
Andrews style.
Exactly. The roof was eaved, so you could only, if you were of a certain height, you could only stand up in a certain part.
That donkey just stepped on my foot, and that donkey is heavy.
We had no community room. We had no place for people to gather for large fun events like what we're doing tomorrow.
Does this happen every year, or are you doing it because it's the 15th anniversary?
We're doing it in celebration of the 15th anniversary, but we'll see how it goes, right, Laurie?
Do you think that there's a real chance that you will get in the actual Guinness Book of World Records with this, though? Like, I know how difficult it is. We had another Guinness Book of World Record holder on the show with her. She has the largest cookbook collection in the world, and she lives in Hatfield, Lisa Eckes. Are there parameters that they're making you jump through that you're willing to jump through so you can actually be in the Guinness Book? Then you can have the Guinness Book here, which I used to check out from my library as a kid all the time. I loved getting the Guinness Book of World Records out.
I guess we'll just have to have a lot of quizzes at the end to make sure people were comprehending.
Yeah.
Who's checking? Because I think you're up against things like some of the branches in Seattle. Are you connected with the other libraries that are also doing it?
We started it, so we get to claim the world record.
Okay.
But we sent the information to the American Library Association back in 2007 when we first did it. And the only other library in America to pick it up was 3,000 miles away and one of the biggest library systems in the nation. At that point, their librarian, she was featured as one of these bobblehead librarians because she was so famous, like she was a rock star. But as far as we know, that's the only other library in America so far that's done it. And I truly do hope it goes national because it's such a great way to bring people together in support of your libraries. And we all know that little libraries, all libraries, are facing not only cuts at the federal level, but they're often one of the first places in a community that people think that they can trim a budget. And it's a very small investment in a town's budget, often less than 2%, and a huge, huge equalizer in a community.
What is your Field of Dreams event? Is it like holograms of baseball players that people wanted to see play against each other? You just project them down the hill?
Will Kevin Costner be here?
Nothing to do with baseball. So these are concerts, and they happen in our backyard. They're always Fridays at 6 p.m. We usually do them every other week throughout the summer. We bring in a lot of local bands. Lonesome Brothers has been here a number of times. We just had Blue Rendezvous. They're another local band. It's just a really fun time for people of all ages to gather and dance and listen to some great music and have fun.
We called it that because in that movie, if you build it, they will come. So we built the library, and that's what's happened.
And hopefully they'll come in droves tomorrow and break that record. More than 287 people in chairs reading on the back lawn of the Westhampton Library between 11 and 1.
It's nice to read outside and have those memories for when you can't read outside, like in the winter.
Oh, yes.
I can't read inside anymore without my glasses, but I could easily read out here. The sun.
It's the best reading lamp there is. Thank you, donkey, for not donkey kicking me, but that foot hurt. I was like, ow, that donkey's on me.
Resting for reading.
Thanks again to Laurie Sanders, Meaghan Schwelm, Ali Jenkins, Jennifer Milikowsky, Jim Armenti, and Phil Dowling with a last-minute preview of one of those beautiful framed pictures that is being raffled off to support the Westhampton Public Library at their Lounging for Literacy event.
Later, we'll hear from a quarter of the supergroup Songs of Our Native Daughters, the amazing Leyla McCalla from our pop-up with her at the Green River Festival.
After we chill out with supremely refreshing white wines and a return to the Thunderdome at State Street.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Eastworks, 4 floors of makers, artists, and entrepreneurs located in the Mill District in East Hampton, where community happens. Learn more at eastworks.com. The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by the UMass 5 College Credit Union, dedicated to creating access to financial well-being for local people, businesses, and communities. Insured by NCUA, umass5.coop.
We bought an air conditioner finally so we wouldn't die.
I said if we hit the third 100-degree day, we have to bring the AC upstairs instead of strategically placing our fans.
Once we get back from the Cape, if I don't have ACs in our windows, my family gets really mad at me. And you should have seen me putting them in, sweating like a pig.
Hey, look, it's one of my favorite varietals on this table.
We're back in the wine bunker, deep below State Street Fruit Store, Deli Wines and Spirits, the birthplace of the wine Thunderdome, with the Wine Sun and the Yankee Sip. But we, schedules and all sorts of things have been weird over the last couple weeks. From Green River last week. Next week is the 4th of July, so we haven't wine Thunderdomed in quite some time. So it's good to be back Thunderdoming.
Yes.
You're excited about what's on the table.
I am excited. These are two of my favorite varietals.
We obviously knew that. Stacking the deck, Monty.
Nice.
In appreciation of the heat wave that we just all survived, we have some great summer whites.
Nice.
Low alcohol, great flavor, poundability. We got all the factors.
We actually said porch pounder in a good way, and now I'm like,
I mean, the more you say those words, the more it sounds like we're casting for porn.
oh.
How about a patio pounder?
That's a stepmom.
Stacey's mom has got it going on.
Yeah, right?
We're really diving right in, folks.
Both of these wines are classier than this conversation.
Yeah.
And have been for a long time.
Summer whites, meaning they're prone to sunburn. Our friend, but your good friend, Neil, had a meme on social media just the other day when we were in the middle of the heat wave with a squirt gun pointing at the sun saying, "Stay away from my white friends."
I immediately sent it to my partner, who is a redhead and burns like the match that they are. Burned out in like the overcast during Juneteenth.
That was the tithe he had to pay to
Also,
be at the
it
cookout.
was nighttime.
All right, but these are different types of summer whites.
Which one of these are we doing
I
first?
don't
Are we
know.
doing the Gruner first?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, because the Vino Verde is going to be a little bit sweeter.
That's true.
Yeah, that's a good tip. When you know how the sweetness level of a wine, the sweeter one, drink later, or else it'll overpower the drier one.
And possibly effervescent. Vino Verde also often has like a little bit of natural bubbles happening. Put the bubbles later.
Sometimes they do intentionally add a little bit of bubble.
So then the first one would be?
This is the Landhausmeier Gruner Veltliner.
And where's Landhaus Meyer from?
Austria.
See, now I wish it was hot while we were drinking this one. Then I would appreciate it a little
It's
bit
never
more.
hot in the wine bunker anyway.
It's never hot in the wine bunker.
Talk to us about this particular grape.
Most likely indigenous to Austria. It is the child of Sauvignon, but also Traminer, and an ancient grape, but they literally found one vine left in a tiny church vineyard that was 500 years old.
Whoa.
Called Saint Gorges Rebe, and they think that's what it's connected to. It also is distantly related to Pinot Noir because of the Sauvignon.
But it is white.
It is a white. Let's smell it because it smells delicious.
It does smell delicious. Melanie.
It's floral too, and like richer apple, almost like Seckelberry.
Yeah, so a lot of Gruners, Gruner Veltliner, will also, they're kind of zesty smelling. The hallmark note on them is white pepper.
Oh yeah.
And so you can smell that before you even get into any of the citrus notes.
I get a little grapefruit
Yeah, a
rind,
little grapefruit rind.
but not the grapefruit itself. It's like not juicy like that. It's pithy.
I'm pulling out a little honeysuckle as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And fabulous acid. Who doesn't like fabulous acid?
Yeah, right. Don't take the brown acid.
Of course, it's your own trip, so be my guest, but please be advised that there is a warning on that one, okay?
This is now a free show.
Dude.
It's a free concert from now on.
I gotta watch that again.
What would one eat with this Gruner Veltliner from Austria?
I'll tell you one thing you could get away with if it was about a month ago: asparagus.
Yeah.
Yep. I think this will hold up to fried foods.
Remember when Captain Jack's Roadside Jack was a BYOB establishment, Monty?
Maybe it's a BYO mind your own business right now. And sometimes it's fun to see what one can get away with in certain locations.
The boss of me.
Big shout out to Captain Jack, Kevin, for catering the Green River Festival last weekend. He always does a great job. Yeah. Now he does all the catering for the Treehouse concerts that are out there in South Deerfield too. I love this.
Yeah,
This wine is too elegant to be called a porch pounder.
It would be nice to be outside in the hot weather with this. It's just super, super drinkable.
I'm getting a lot of really good green apple right now, and not like gross Granny Smith apple, but like young green apple.
Pretty rough on the Granny Smith apple there.
I just don't get. I mean, I'm kind of over Granny
not a fan
Smith.
either.
Granny Smith apple and lemon are like the like default descriptions of wines all the time.
Yeah.
This actually, like, if we're gonna get into apples and be real, like, weirdly specific about it, this tastes like sheep's nose.
Never eaten a
I don't
sheep's
know if I've
nose.
had a sheep-
Other parts of sheep, but
Sheep's nose apples have a lot of floral notes to them. They're very crisp. They're not particularly sweet. They're a pretty good baking apple, decent eating apple if you like them a little on the tart side, and they kind of look like sheep's noses.
it's strawberry season too, and I can imagine like a nice green salad with little strawberries and some feta cheese, and this would be nice. Even a little salt, pepper on
Maybe
that
a little
salad.
chev too. This would work with a little bit of chev.
Chev, yeah.
This has enough acidity to it to be extremely versatile.
Is this an oyster wine?
I think it could also be an oyster
very
wine.
Oyster wine.
Easily be an oyster wine.
Oyster wine. How all wine should be measured.
I also kind of agree with that.
Yes, but the oysters always win.
I don't know, but they get kicked up a notch when you have the good wine with
I
it.
ate a
It's
lot
so
of
good.
oysters this week. I went to Wellfleet. So.
Oh, nice.
It was really cool this weekend. We actually saw the farmers go out. I have a good friend who volunteers with the Wellfleet Oyster Commission. So we watched them go out and like flip the beds and doing all the seating. It was great. I mean, of course, I was sitting on the beach like drinking wine, which don't do.
BYOB, mind your own business.
But they live that close to the bed, so it's very cool to see. And like, it's really, really hard work. And get your dogs off the beach.
Okay, wine number 1 once again.
Landhausmeyer Gruner Veltliner.
Is it Gruner Veltliner or Gruner Veltliner? I hear
I
it.
think it's leaner, but I just said liner.
German?
I think it's Gruner Veltliner.
Wouldn't it be liner if you had the E?
Like my last name, I think it's Veltliner, but it could be Veltliner.
It's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Get to the chopper! This is Julian, the French winemaking guy who makes wine videos, and we are looking at how to pronounce the name Gruner Veltliner. Gruner Veltliner.
It's Captain Von Trapp.
Yeah,
it just takes a Nazi flag and tears it in half in a palate sense. It just takes your palate and rips it in two. That's why I like it. It's an Antifa wine. Okay, what's the wine number 2?
Wine number 2 is a blend of Loureiro and Alvarinho from the Vinho Verde region of Portugal. There's probably 5 or 6 white grapes that are common to these wines. Alvarinho is usually bottled by itself because it's a little bit more elevated from the other grapes of the region. And so you can bottle it as a varietal and kind of get a lot more money. So this one's 30% Alvarinho and 70% Loureiro, which is more common. Arinto Trejadura is another grape from that area. Those are the other things we'll usually see blended into Vinho Verde, but this is a really nice version. It's Loureiro and Alvarinho from Aveleda.
And when people see Vinho Verde on a label, what should they understand about it?
It means green wine. So the left coast of Spain and Portugal are known as the Costa Verde. Alvarinho with a V and then ño is Portuguese. Alvarinho is Spanish. So Alvarinho Spanish is grown in like Rias Baixas. And also Loureiro is also grown up there. There have always been blending grapes, but Loureiro I think is a little bit more popular down in Portugal. So Loureiro actually means laurel.
Are you sure it doesn't mean Yanny?
Laurel.
Are you sure that this is a green grape, not a blue or gold grape?
Anyway, it's called laurel because it smells like actually the berries in a laurel. But the Alvarinho and the Loureiro are a little bit richer, a little bit more full-bodied from Portugal than they are from Spain. And I love Loureiro. I don't know if you ever find very many single varietal Loureiros, but they are delicious, and you should definitely. This is 70-30, so you'll notice that the it's definitely a little bit more floral.
And a sweeter floral.
A sweeter floral, and it also has all the hallmarks of tangerine.
It's perfumey. I wasn't expecting the acid of this to hit so hard. That's not a thing that you usually get in this style of wine.
Yeah, Vinho Verde sometimes to me, it's very affordable a lot of the times, which means that it can be a roll of the dice depending on where, who's making it, about how good it's going to be. Also, like sometimes I'll get an affordable one and it's a little more bubbly than my wife, who claims to hate sparkling wines, wants it to be. This one doesn't appear to be bubbly at all.
Usually when we talk about Vinho Verde, we're talking about effervescence, so sort of just the hint of sparkliness. This is very much less so, and that's normal for this wine. There's 2 other wines made by the same group, the Aveleda Fonte and the Casal Garcia, which is sort of the longest standing wine of this category in Coopers and State Street. We've carried it for 25 or more years.
Am I mad that I have to pay like $8 for it now instead of the $4 I had been paying for decades?
I can't imagine paying $4 for a bottle of wine now.
And initially we were buying it because we were all broke, but turns out that wine is actually decent quality for what it is. And that's kind of across the board for this style of wine. It's one of the reasons why I really love Vinho Verde. It's affordable, it's playful, and even when it gets a little bit out of pocket, it doesn't disappoint in the way that some other wines do when you get to that price.
Yeah, compare it to Pinot Grigio, which is just alcohol water. You might as well get one of those alcohol seltzers if you're going to get Pinot.
You really feel, Monty.
Yeah, but Vinho Verde is the same, often similar price point, and to me much more interesting, much more flavorful.
I don't think you should walk into like a better wine shop and be like, oh, I just want some Vinho Verde, whatever. It's $9, because there are serious, like they're serious wines. They're made carefully. We actually just brought in a $19 Vinho Verde, and it is worth every penny.
Okay, Khalees wants to revisit, I'm sure.
That's how it works. Your palate changes, the wine changes, your
That's not
tongue,
pouring it out.
your opinions change as you grow, hopefully.
So I am getting on the second round. This Gruner is
much
so pepper.
All I needed to do was have a slightly sweeter wine, and it really pops right out.
A whole lot more apple, too. It's almost tarragon-y.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a really good note.
Is that tarragon?
Paragon? Yeah. Oh, you're crazy.
Is that the only thing he quotes aside from Modern Family?
Tarragon? What are you, crazy? Still.
8 spices.
Some must be doubles. Oregano. What the hell?
Wine.
I'm so glad to be back.
I know we haven't seen you in a while, but you haven't even been in the Thunderdome lately?
No, we haven't
anywhere.
Thunderdomed for like a month.
So all of the hopeful people that thought it was because they keep telling us about how bad alcohol is and the Surgeon General warning us about it, we understand and appreciate your point of view, but that is not why we haven't been doing it over the last couple of weeks.
As we mentioned in another segment, June be crazy.
Being all proud.
Congratulations on 10 years of equal marriage in the United States of
Yeah,
America.
let's make it to 11, folks.
Officially longer than the Confederacy existed.
Yeah, let's make it to
So I
11.
saw a meme that's saying, I'm ready for the statues to be erected across the country
I mean,
for
they're
this.
doing the opposite by taking Harvey Milk's name off of a ship, aren't they? Like,
The reason all those statues of the Confederacy went up and the reason that these things are coming down are all the same reasons.
Secretly make a whole bunch of Harvey Milk statues.
That
all.
entire class of ships is being renamed.
Yep.
It's absurd.
Yep. So the acid in this settled down a little bit as it warmed. Stay on
really
target.
It's really funny how much more I liked the Gruner when we returned to it, and now how much more I like the Vino Verde now that we've come back to it also.
It made it that much more difficult. Nothing was solved.
There's so much more tangerine showing now in this
Right.
wine too. It's
Yeah.
it's just this really dominant fruit note for me.
Why did you do this to us? I don't know how to choose this. Do we
Tough.
have to make choices? We have to make choices.
Yes. But we don't have to make the
Not
right
making
choice.
a choice is also a choice.
Yeah. Gruner Veltliner, Landhausmeier from Austria, and of course the Vino Verde from Portugal from the Aveleda. Who's ready to vote? Yankee Sippa.
Gruner.
Second, the Gruner,
I'm also going to vote for the Gruner.
I hate to do it, but yeah, it's the Gruner.
which is a hard one for Khalees because Khalees loves Portuguese wine.
Love Portuguese wine. It's my favorite region. But that Gruner is just so well balanced.
Yeah.
It serves its purpose in terms of our porch pounder hot weather.
Neither of these are porch pounders.
The Gruner is a more sophisticated wine than you would want to have that moniker. But if it was 2 days ago and 101 degrees outside, I defy you not to finish that bottle in minutes. With the heat, you would just be like, I need more of this.
Well, it's going to get hot again, so now you've got some options.
Yeah, you survived heat wave number 1, but number 2 is coming.
Now to hang out with Leyla McCalla as we go back in time to our pop-up with her at the Green River Festival.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Northeast Solar, helping customers make the switch to solar for savings, energy security, and tax incentives. Learn more at northeast-solar.com.
Welcome to the Fabulous 413, live from the Memorial Hall Museum exhibit of the Green River Festival, the historical exhibit in the Youth Hall at the Green River Festival, the Franklin County Fairgrounds, right across from the Roundhouse, where we are recording another musical pop-up. A round of applause for our next guest. We are so excited. Leyla McCalla finds inspiration from her past and present, whether it's her Haitian heritage or her adopted home of New Orleans. She, a bilingual, multi-instrumentalist and alumna of Grammy Award-winning African-American string band, the Carolina Chocolate Drops, has risen to produce a distinctive sound that reflects the union of her roots and experience.
McCalla's widely acclaimed collaborative project, Songs of Our Native Daughters, with Rhiannon Giddens, Amethyst Kia, and Allison Russell, was released via Smithsonian Folkways in 2019. The album pulled influence from past sources to create a reinvented slave narrative confronting sanitized views about America's history of slavery, racism, and misogyny from a powerful, modern, black female perspective.
And they just had a reunion show in LA recently, which I'm sure was exceptional. Her most recent album is called Sun Without Sun.
Sun without the heat.
Sun without the heat. I knew, I was like, that doesn't seem right when I wrote this. It doesn't feel right. And that's why we get auto-corrected in real time by artists.
No, like, please drag us. Tell us what it is.
Let's start out with a song.
Sure.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, absolutely. How about we start with the title track, Sun Without the Heat? Formerly named Sun Without Sun. You want the crops without the plow. You want the rain without the thunder. You want the ocean without the roar of its waters. Can't have the sun without the heat. Nothing that I say hasn't been said before. Nothing that I feel hasn't been felt before. These wounds are so old. These wounds are so old. These wounds are so old. These wounds. You want the crops without the plow. You want the rain without the thunder. You want the ocean without the roar of its waters. Can't have the sun without the heat. So much waste, so much waste, the waste of the city in the city lights, weighing so heavy on our minds, 'cause nothing is right, and there's so much wrong, only we can't change ourselves. The road is so long, these wounds are so old. These wounds are so old. These wounds are so old. These wounds. Without the plow. You want the rain without the thunder. You want the ocean without the roar of its waters. Can't have the sun without the heat. You want the rain without the thunder. You want the ocean without the roar of its waters. Can't have the sun without the heat.
Leyla McCalla live from the Memorial Hall exhibit in the Youth Hall at the Green River Festival.
Oh my God, I'm crying.
Or the song. It's a beautiful, beautiful song and a beautiful album.
Thank you.
And you'll be playing a full set here in a little while. And we didn't coordinate very well about when you were coming to do this. So we don't have very much time with you, so I'll let Khalees launch right into it, whatever questions you may have.
So how many instruments do you play, and which one are you most comfortable on? Because I think I've seen you play at least 4.
I play 3 instruments confidently. I play guitar, I play tenor banjo, and I play the cello. And I guess most comfortable is an interesting way of thinking about it. You know, I started playing the cello when I was 8 years old, so I have the longest relationship with it, but I feel like each of my instruments are, you know, do have different functions, and they do different things, but I would say I'm most virtuosic as a cellist.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you are a virtuoso, as we've just witnessed, and you've played with some virtuosic folks, like in the Carolina Chocolate Drops, like with Our Native Daughters, which, as we mentioned, features Rhiannon Giddens and Amethyst Kia and Allison Russell, all of whom we are huge fans of, as well as a big fan of yours. Talk about that dynamic of bringing Our Native Daughters back together with that reunion? And what's the future hold for that project?
I mean, I think the future of Our Native Daughters is very bright, both individually and collectively. I think one of the kind of sources of power of our project is how much we are committed to supporting each other and what is best for each of us individually. But there is something, just so generative and magical about being together, and so we're kind of holding all of that in the same space, and we're quite busy. We have kids. We have very full lives. We have crazy touring schedules. We're all on different labels.
I'm surprised you can all find a time that all works together.
Yeah, I mean, I think the time that we recorded the world was a really different place. The business was different, and so we're trying to, we have the creative juice. It's more about, the logistics and figuring out how to actually be in the same place at the same time. Our Hollywood Bowl show a couple days ago really gave us that opportunity and had us feeling well-resourced. And that's what artists need,
Yeah. I think, though, in that project and in your solo work, one thing that I've noticed about the sound and the feel of your writing in particular and what you bring is a lot of the sound of, like, coastline. It's a weird thing to say. Like, I feel like Rhiannon Giddens and Amethyst and bring a lot of, like, mountain-y sounds, and Allison brings a lot of, like, prairie-y sounds, but when I think about your music, I think about the coastline. Can you talk about how place works into the things that you write?
Yeah, well, I think that, I'm someone who has done, like, a lot of research about my ancestral roots and, a lot of trying to connect my present reality with the past and kind of using music as a compass for navigating life. My family is from Haiti. I am very outspoken about that. I'm very outspoken about, the influence of Haitian history on American history and American politics and cultural dynamics. And so it makes sense to me that that my music sounds like you're on a beach, because I am, from an island. My people are from an island, but I don't think any of this music that I've been making in the past 10 years would have been possible without me moving from, my native New York City to New Orleans, my adopted home. New Orleans has provided such a well of knowledge and information and inspiration and the spiritual foundation for this work, and I feel very connected to that land, and I've built community there over the past 15 years. My children are native New Orleanians, and New Orleans wouldn't be what it is without the Haitian Revolution and without Haiti being what it is. So I'm certainly interested in understanding, that historical and cultural and political feedback loop. Like, what is that? And a lot of my music comes from trying to integrate that into who I am.
Accidentally still being punished for freeing themselves for 200 years.
Right.
That being said, does the music that has such strong messages in it hit differently for you in what's going on in the world in 2025?
I mean, it doesn't hit differently. It just, I think, when you're someone who wants to speak truth to power, you question whether your truth is actually truthful. And I think for me, it's been very, I don't want to say validating, because I'm not really looking for validation, but I guess affirming, that the truth that I hold dear is so relevant to a lot of the conversations that we've been having. I'm the daughter of Haitian immigrants who came to the United States in the 1960s under a dictatorship, and so a lot of what we're seeing in the world is very similar migrations of people, very similar human rights abuses and issues, and very similar issues of who belongs and who doesn't belong, and who gets to make those rules anyway. So those have been themes in my music that I think speak particularly to struggles for immigrant rights and issues around immigration. But nothing is comes from a vacuum. All of the climate justice, racism, xenophobia, immigrants' rights, human rights, all of those things are interconnected, and so I see it all as a part of this web that is so deeply woven into my music.
Do you feel that your arrangements have broadened or shifted as more Black people are recognized in Americana and roots and folk music?
No, I don't think my music itself has shifted because of that. I think my sense of belonging has shifted.
Wow.
Because I think that, in the beginning of your career, you're like, am I tokenized? Am I being tokenized? That's always a question, I think, as a Black performer, like, oh, okay, am I filling a slot here because they needed to fill this slot? Or, am I part of a groundswell grassroots movement of people who are, reclaiming, and maybe not even just reclaiming, acknowledging that this is the foundation of American music.
Yeah.
I think that word reclamation is kind of funny, and always like, well, it's very personal,
But the acknowledgement is important. I got the best history of the banjo I've ever heard from Rhiannon Giddens watching the Carolina Chocolate Drops live on a stage.
Absolutely.
And so that acknowledgement, and if you want to call it reclamation, is super important, and you bear great responsibility in being a big part of that conversation, I think.
Especially putting it on cello, too, which is not an instrument that's often found in this music either, or with Black hands on it. So, I think it's really
historically,
cool.
Before they used the upright bass, they were using the cello, and I didn't even know that until I joined the Carolina Chocolate Drops, and so it's been a lot of happy accidents along the way. That's like, oh, I'm in the perfect place.
And a lot of relearning important histories that I think get lost, and so it's so great that you're doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
And we know you're going to get to sound check.
Yeah, so let's get
doing one more
another song and get you
Yeah.
on your way.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Leyla McCalla.
Absolutely.
Live from the Youth Hall at the Green River Festival on the Fabulous 413.
I'm gonna play this song. It's called "Take Me Away," and it's inspired by Octavia Butler.
I have a picture of her on my wall. One of 3 actual portraits I have in my house.
Yeah, she's a fascinating writer, amazing human. She said that God is change in her book Parable of the Sower, and the song is sort of a response to that. So. Take me away to that faraway place. 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 Take me away. Take me away to that faraway place. Take me away. Make me unafraid of change. Make me unafraid, make me brave. Make me an angel who can see where we're going. Make me unafraid of change. And take me away to that faraway place. 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 Take me from harm, make me clear. Help my heart listen, make me hear. Give me the courage to face me head on. Make me unafraid of change. Thank you.
Leyla McCalla, live from the Youth Hall, right across from the Roundhouse at the Green River Festival. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
I'm still counting it as a Live Music Friday.
That still counts, yeah. It was like, it's Friday.
It's
and
Friday.
It was live
music at a time that we just couldn't put it on the radio live.
Indeed.
Yeah. And there will be more from the pop-ups at the Green River Festival this coming week on the 4th of July.
Yeah, including Ali McGurk and,
Thus Love, yes.
From Brattleboro. Oh, so good. So good. Next week, however, on the Fabulous 413, now that we've read a pile of books,
we're on to the museums. We'll stop in Amherst for Dino Week at the Benesky Museum.
And at Springfield Museums to see the Portraits in Red exhibit, which highlights the ongoing struggles of Indigenous communities.
We'll get down with the folk spinning tunes at Northampton's DJs in the Park series.
And celebrate new citizens who will be naturalized on the 4th of July.
We'll also revisit Frederick Douglass's speech about the 4th with Professor Usman Power Green.
And chat with a couple of Western Mass expats and PVPA graduates about their new podcast that covers one of their most important memories about the school.
I'm Monty Belmonte.
I'm Klee Smith. Have a great weekend. See you Monday.